Information-seeking strategies. Did Mr. Z determine all possible sources and select the best sources? Mr. Z needs to determine all possible sources and select the best one. To find sources, the most efficient way is by creating a keywords and phrases list. Mr. Z has done this, but his list is lacking, which will lead to a poor selection of sources. Mr. Z should edit his list to incorporate more items that are relevant, such as co-teaching, positive effects, student achievement in co-teaching, and teacher collaboration and student results. His next step will be to evaluate the sources he has already found. It is important to only use credible sources. We can examine the sources Mr. Z has chosen to use to see which are credible and which are not. The first and third sites he used have the characteristics of credible sources. Although considering the third source is a bit outdated, Mr. G should find other information to reinforce this source. When a source has grammar mistakes and no reliable sources stated, it shows that the site may not be credible and it should be looked into farther. Therefore, Mr. Z should further examine the second source, and if not credible, he should look for a different source and new information. Locate and access. Locate sources intellectually and physically, and find information within sources. Finding information within sources can vary between people for what works best for them. For the purpose of needing to cite your work, it is important to stay organized and know which paper was used and knowing what source that the information came from. This sets you up to ensure there is no chance of accidental plagiarism within your publication.
Use of information. Did Mr. Z engage and extract the relevant information? Mr. Z found that he was most engaged with literary journals and online articles while completing the research for his essay. He also enjoys talking to experienced people who are able to provide him with first-hand experience. Once Mr. Z got all his information, he needed to extract the relevant things and then focus on those. He looked at the articles, posts, websites, and etc. that were relevant to the topic and used headings to focus on main ideas that would allow him to get an understanding about the article. Another way he extracted the information for his essay was by highlighting keywords or phrases and writing down important points. Once Mr. Z found articles or posts that talked about co-teaching, he focused on using keywords and phrases to look up more in-depth information. He also retrieved information from people who have used co-teaching themselves or experienced the changes firsthand.